Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Yeah! How comes he's wearing that billowing shirt? Is he going to be doing backing vocals for John Mayer on a mountaintop or something? No, the answer is no. I just wanted to wear something suitably artsy. So I wanted to look like a poet from perhaps the 18th century, but with an Adidas running hat on, because I need to offer an artist's perspective on some controversy that is currently abound. Spotify expands access to controversial discovery mode program. What does it mean? Who knows? Let's find out. I'm going to read all about it and then offer some perspective. Perhaps we can discuss it together and find out if this is just the latest way that Spotify has found to exploit and otherwise hinder an artist develop, or is it something cool? Who knows? It might be good. Justin Hawkins writes again. I think we can all agree that within the music trade and perhaps in life at large, something that sounds too good to be true is often too good to be true. But anyway, Spotify officially announced that it has expanded access to discovery mode. And that's a contentious program that gives artists a chance to gain more algorithmic exposure on the platform through Spotify Radio and autoplay in exchange for a lower royalty rate. So that could mean that like certain types of playlists within Spotify Radio will be populated by, hopefully exclusively, by people who have agreed a lower rate so that they get more exposure. I don't know what the problem is here. If every artist in the world says, yes, I'll take the lower royalty rate, put me on that radio station, there's only so many things they can play, isn't there? I mean, isn't it just like, it would be a flooded, discovery mode would be absolutely flooded, wouldn't it? And it would be impossible to determine one act from another, and it'll all be emerging acts, perhaps in their infancy, and they might not be developed enough to actually have the songs that make you want to listen to it. It could be a massive waste of time. Anyway, artists or their teams can now easily enter tracks into discovery mode through the Spotify for Artists tool, as long as their distributors are participating in the program. Often, these the emerging artists that we're talking about will be their own distributor, or they'll have like a third-party distributor that is really doesn't curate the stuff at all. You just submit it to them and they service it to all the platforms. There'll be other examples when, artists and bands that are signed on development deals for labels and stuff. They'll be the sorts of people that would consider this, I think. So anyway, while labels can continue to access Discovery Mode through our team, I'm excited that Discovery Mode is now available directly within Spotify for artists today. Joe Hadley, the streamer's global head of artist partnerships and audience, said on Wednesday. Now, thousands of independently distributed artists and labels have access to the Discovery Mode. I bet they're all really thrilled about that. Managers who are eager to get their artists' music in front of as many people as possible have been enthusiastic about Discovery Mode, telling Billboard it's a brilliant tool that can yield incredible results. For example. On the other end of the spectrum, music industry trade organisations and members of Congress alike have denounced the programme as a new digital form of payola that will eventually lead to an overall decrease in the amount of royalties flowing from Spotify to labels and artists. You would think it was within, it should be within Spotify's remit and actually within their interests actually to promote emerging artists that could potentially lead to more and more streams at the full rates. I think the idea that Discovery Mode isn't curated in any way, it's more just like whoever wants to be in Discovery Mode can now be in Discovery Mode. I think that's what they're saying. Unless I'm wrong, perhaps you can use the comments section to educate me, but that's what it feels like. It feels like it's just like, well, what the hell? Everybody can be on Discovery Mode. It just feels like if it's a struggle to discover new talent when the decks are clear and only a few people are allowed in Discovery Mode, now everybody's on Discovery Mode and Spotify just aren't paying as much as they used to. I think that's really all it boils down to, isn't it? Congress also questioned Spotify about whether Discovery Mode meets guidelines set forth by the Federal Trade Commission, which notes that disclosure of paid content should be clear and conspicuous. I noticed that within, in the olden days when people used to buy records, it was always quite challenging to audit a label to find out exactly where the money came from and where it went. And I think we discovered that in America, it's actually there is no recourse. It's actually more or less impossible to audit a record company. So the idea of things being, disclosures of paid content being clear and conspicuous is a new concept for the music trade. Anyway, we've been in testing mode, but the results speak for themselves, Hadley said. On average, we've seen users save Discovery Mode songs 50% more often, adding them to playlists 44% more, and follow the artists 37% more. And that's just what they see in the song's first month of Discovery Mode use. To ensure that the tool is accessible to artists at any stage of their career, it won't require any upfront budget, Spotify wrote in its blog post. Instead, labels or rights holders agree to be paid a promotional recording royalty rate for streams in personalized listening sessions where we provided this service. So what they've done is they've backloaded the remuneration for the exposure. So I suppose in the olden days you would pay to have your songs included in certain playlists or in certain areas of Spotify that would allow those of us who are interested in new music to sort of go and check it out. And now nobody has to pay, you just get it on the back end. But it's a little bit like, I think that to pay to be on a playlist is a little bit like the vanity press, isn't it? Like when you write a short story or something like that, and then they go, "Oh, you've won a competition. Here you go. We're going to publish that. How many books would you like for you and your family?" It's a little bit like that, isn't it? But I think on the back end, stuff on the back end is like, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be flooded. That's my feeling. Anyway, last year, managers told Billboard that the royalties they received on plays from Discovery Mode were 30% less than the royalties they received from plays elsewhere on Spotify. In 2021, representatives Jerry Nadler, DNY, and Hank Johnson Jr., DGA, not sure what they mean, expressed their concerns about Discovery Mode, noting in a letter to Spotify that it could set in motion a race to the bottom in which artists and labels feel compelled to accept lower royalties as a necessary way to break through an extremely crowded and competitive music environment. Last year, you know what? What's wrong with just being good? You know what I mean? Just write a good song. Isn't that how it works? Just do some good music. Last year, reps Yvette D. Clarke, Judy Chu, and Tony Cardenas also wrote to Spotify, worrying that Discovery Mode preys on unwitting listeners who aren't aware they're being served a song, thanks in part to a promotional program with a back-end cost. Back-end cost. Enough about my... No, forget it. Spotify has defended Discovery Mode by touting its impact on artists' streams. Yeah, but I mean, the whole point of a stream is you get some wonga, isn't it? Oh, you got 1 billion streams. Oh, that's great. That's 75 quid. No, actually, you're in Discovery Mode, so that's £35. But all the traffic's going to Spotify. Yeah, but it's exposure for you, so you're welcome. Artists and label teams have told us for years that they want more agency in reaching new listeners and driving meaningful connections on our platform, Spotify said in a statement last year. Discovery Mode, in its early phase, delivers just that. So the question we have to ask is it worth it? Is exposure more valuable than royalties? And I suppose, I think that's what they're relying on is artists who are at the very beginning of their ascent, where you do stuff. I mean, you do stuff. You take a loss on a lot of the things that a lot of your sort of musical endeavours that become paid endeavours, if the dream is realised, is stuff that you're just forking out for, for the joy of it and to see people's little faces and to understand that you have an audience and people are actually listening to what you do. It is exciting. But I don't understand why it's necessary for Spotify to then, also benefit from that. Like if somebody turns up who's really great and does a song, brilliant song, and everyone goes, "Oh, I want to listen to that," that artist has broken through at that point, and they really ought to be compensated equally to like an established artist who may have had the same number of streams but is making literally twice as much money. I mean, I think that their time would be better spent having like a team of people who curate playlists as opposed to only, making people pay to be discovered. It's like when when you're on Instagram sometimes. I never do that. I don't even have it on my phone. Whoop. But, if you are sort of, scrolling through Instagram and you're sweeping down all the people that you follow. It's good. Oh yeah, Richard's got a new dog. Oh, look at that fruit salad looks tasty. They've cut that really carefully. Oh, what's this band? And then you're looking at it and it's like a slightly professional looking video and you're thinking, I don't remember following these people. And then you look at the numbers, 200 people follow them, and it's like, get off my timeline. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't ask to see that, and it's being peddled towards me because somebody's paid to have it pushed into my timeline. I hate that. And I think discovery mode is something that, people who are like open to hearing new music and excited about new music will definitely explore stuff that is in that thing if it's curated. I think just the idea that somebody just pays and then suddenly they're getting discovered by everybody. It's like, oh, I'm brilliant, look at this. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear good music. Anyway, the worst thing is so many young artists are going to opt in for this. It's a quick and easy route to exposure. It's a trap, and it's probably going to work. But how do you stop it? I mean, the trap is... this is the whole thing. Like, every music lawyer who's worth their fee will explain to you that you need to protect yourself in the music trade from failure, and more importantly, from success. Like if you have 1 billion streams and you're getting paid half as much as the other person who's got 1 billion streams, that's not good. Maybe if it's discovery mode, they should have like a threshold where, say, a certain number of people have discovered you at the lower rate, and then you go up to the normal rate, and then the discovery's happened, and then you've been discovered. You don't need to be taking a hit on that stuff because how many streams are you going to get in total? It's like it might be one of those things where you have to make hay while the sun shines. So I would suggest to Spotify, put a threshold in. Discovery mode, fine. Lower royalty rate. Get up to 500,000 streams, then it should go to full. Something like that. Because they're gonna save a lot and artists are gonna lose a lot. Would you accept that offer if you were a young artist coming through? Would I? Perhaps. Maybe I probably would. Yeah, probably would, because it's the most important thing in the early days is getting people to have eyes and ears on the things that you're doing. So you take a hit. But then when you get a hit, an actual HIT, worldwide international music smash, you don't want to be in discovery mode making half as much. You just don't. So my suggestion would be insert threshold. Discovery mode applies to a certain number of streams to be determined. Let's say 250,000. I think that's fair. After that, everything should be paid at the full royalty rate. What do you think, Spotify? Good idea? What do you think, guys? Use the comment section below. Discovery mode, I mean, that's all anybody wants, is to be heard or to be seen. It's that whole thing of the tree falling down in the forest or whatever. I'm probably not using that expression in the correct way. But if you make a song and nobody listens to it, you might as well not bother. So it's important to get people to hear your stuff. But also, if you get to a certain level, you don't want to be being paid like a beginner, do you? Maybe they should have a whole new Spotify just for people who don't want anything. Spotify have found a way to reward themselves for other people emerging, for artists emerging, and Spotify benefit from that. I think discovery mode where there's no curation involved, it's going to be flooded, and there should be a threshold on what's considered a thing that's in discovery and what's considered a fully actualized mega hit that everybody's listening to, and people should be paid accordingly. It's a difficult and nuanced area. It's not as simple as, Spotify is evil, because I think they're doing something that could actually benefit people at a certain level. But once you get past that, they've got to be compensated. This is the music business. It is not the music game. Know what I'm saying? Justin Hawkins writes again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, watch one of these 2 videos, and think carefully about what these streaming platforms mean for emerging artists. And let me know in the comments section what you think of all that stuff. Nice one, guys. See you later.